and a governor, they also own the same farmer. So by having them in these cooperatives, so that they can be able to answer the question on behalf of the people that they represent. Otherwise, it can be very frustrating. Now, as I move on now to the next issue, which is the price. The only way to fix this price is nothing but value addition. And this is value addition in two ways. If you go to Starbucks, I travel quite a lot, a 225-gram sachet of what they call Kenya AA, the best coffee, it goes for somewhere in the region of $22. Now do some mathematics. It means that a kilo of that Starbucks coffee is somewhere in the region of $100. Or by the current exchange rate, 14,000 shillings. Even if you use a factor of 10 to go back from that sachet to the cherry, you'll find out that there's no reason, and I believe there's no reason why a kilo of coffee cannot charge minimum 1,000 shillings. Na hata ikipungua sana, I believe if we do the right thing, we can be able to give 500 shillings to the farmer. I believe it's possible. And I believe it's doable. That time, when I was in Parliament, I started to try to move a bill to say, let us not export our coffee raw. And I was fought a lot. You remember, there was a big debate for almost 6 months. And you know, people want to fight you. They come up with all sorts of excuses. Unajua, kahawa yetu inaharibika. You know, there's a shelf life. All sorts of, the same way they were frustrating Derito Gachagua with all sorts of silly arguments. It's the same thing they brought. Oh, you know, the shelf life cannot go, it will go bad. You know, you have to make the coffee close to the consumer. Those are what I call, sorry for this, and I'm not racist, Mzungu arguments. And that's why I am focusing on emerging markets. An emerging market is not going to give me those kind of an argument. It's not, if I go to India, if I go to China, if I go to the Middle East, if I go to Indonesia, if I go to the largest market that we have, which is the rest of Africa, they're not going to start telling me kwamba kahawa itaharibika. So one, we focus on value addition and we focus on new markets. The Vice President of Colombia was here the other day, and we had a meeting with the Deputy President. And one thing that came clear is the number of variants or derivative products that can be able to be gotten out of coffee. Here too, Magonia, green, the way we have done it since independence is the way we are doing it. Now, with the county aggregation and industrial parks, which I'm very passionate about, we can be able to create one, value addition in the county, and we will do it. Two, a county brand. So, Governor Kawira Mwangaza, because your tender is closing today, and because I believe we can start operating this KIPE in 6 months' time, let us also start working on Meru Coffee, a distinct brand of coffee, which even somebody in America or wherever they are, they will know that this is Meru Coffee. And not just coffee. Let us have Meru chocolate and all those other variants of products that you can be able to get. So these county aggregation and industrial parks are very important because, one, the government itself, we are replacing one broker to at least a broker with some conscience, which is the government. Yeah? Because Kawira Mwangaza and myself will be asked questions by the people of Meru. Yeah, so other than just depending on brokers and those middlemen, we can be able to do something as ourselves. And I'm very, very positive that within the next 1 year, using these county aggregation and industrial parks, we are going to bend the curve on coffee, on other products, on productivity, and actually, within the next 1 year, Mwananchi will be smiling. We'll be able to put real money in people's pockets. And for the international marketing, we are opening warehouses in DRC, in Dubai, in those other countries, so that even somebody from Kariene down here can be able to export coffee to South Korea, even if they don't have a passport. Because right now, why we have a problem, only the big shots, only the big people can be able to participate in this market. But using aggregation, which Honorable Cherugoi has talked about, using the county industrial parks, using our export warehouses, we can be able to place coffee in South Korea, and that money will be able to reach somebody in Kariene, even if they don't have a passport. Deploying also e-commerce, which is something else we are working on, our commodity exchange, and CS Cherugui, I want to challenge you, let us support the commodity exchange. Let us actually ensure it is funded, so that Mwananchi can have an option. You want to go to Nairobi Coffee Exchange? Go. You want to go to the commodity exchange? Go. So that we have some sort of competition, and we are able to give value to the farmer. We have now just signed an agreement with CNN for the next 1 year, and using this partnership with CNN, for the first time, you'll be able to see Kenya Coffee on CNN starting from next week, so that we are able to reach everybody. We create that cool effect on our coffee through international marketing. But ultimately, as I conclude, I can't do that alone as a ministry. Linturi cannot do that alone, and Cherugui cannot do that alone. When we went to Nanyuki in January, we established what we are calling the value chain approach. This value chain approach is whereby we all work together. We don't operate in silos. We don't say, I am agriculture, that's why you found me and Linturi are going out together. Next time, Linturi and Cherugui will go and attack something else together. They were here in Meru. Me and Cherugui will go and do something together. So, Your Excellency, I also want to request you to help us to strengthen this value chain approach, because it needs some coordination at your level, at the level of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, because we need to align. You need to help us to have this working together. Our budget now this year, the 2023-2024, for the first time, we have used this value chain approach, whereby we are saying it doesn't matter. I have heard reports that we have got 260 billion within the value chain. Personally, it is not in my ministry, but it doesn't matter. If my brother Linturi has it, and he produces, mimi itangangana huko, and I will create a market. But the most important thing is to have a coordinated approach, because as the Deputy President has said, we must be that generation that is going to fix this issue for once and for all. And because najua kuna watu wengine wanafikiria kwamba we are not going to perform. That's why I'm saying the only auditor who is going to audit our performance is a Mwananchi at the ballot. So we be given time. If we don't perform, Mwananchi atatupiga kiboko. But I'm sorry, in these plans, my only institution I can report to is, other than my president, my deputy president, is parliament, who just got an oversight role, and the voter at the end of our term. So I'm saying this because nimesikia watu wengine wakisema ati sijui finance bill does not pass, wataandamana. Where andamana after 5 years? Tuende kwa Mwananchi after that. Because Mwananchi is not stupid. They can see what we are doing. We need to be given time. We put all these plans into place, so that by 5 years to 4 years from now, because 1 year is almost gone, then we'll be asked a question. When you guys took over government, the farmer in Meru was getting 40 shillings. How much was a farmer getting by 2027? And I'm not saying that it's going to hit until 2027, but I think that we need sufficient space to put all these plans together. Wengine ambao walikuwa kwa hii serikali, ukiwauliza kahawa inatoka wapi, wanakuambia inatoka pale kwa nini, kwa kitchen pale. They don't know about the trees and all that kind of thing. So please, let them give us time now. We put all these efforts together. We work together so that at the end of the day, we can be held accountable by our people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause to Honorable Cabinet Secretary. It's now 11:48. We've overshot by about 3 minutes, but it's an exciting conversation, and I want us to follow through with our other panelists, and then we'll try and wind up as quickly as we can. Thank you, Honorable Cabinet Secretary. Governance is keeps on coming up Excellency Deputy President, that issue of governance. Wherever we talk about production, it's coming up. Whenever we talk about cooperatives, it's coming up. Whenever we are talking about the marketing, it's coming up. And therefore, that is something which I think it is loud and clear we have to fix, take the hard decisions so that we are able to then move forward. Moving on, we have a representative director for international economics at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Fred Matwanga. And as I introduce him to speak, perhaps I will phrase my question to you in the context of something that the State Department for Trade does, and for where we want some additional support also from MFA. The State Department for Trade manages what is known as the Foreign Commercial and Trade Service. These are the officers that we have been posting out there to basically help us with market development, to help us with product development, and to be able to create the relationships that we need in order for us to be able to improve our exports. One of the key things that we've already decided on and has been agreed to by Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry is that even for the cadre of the people that are representing us abroad, we shall be posting them on a value chain basis. We shall basically be saying, if we are in the coffee sector, we need to have people out there who are conversant with coffee, who understand coffee production, who understand coffee aggregation, who know how to do coffee tasting, who know how to establish relationships, who knows how coffee exchanges work, and then that is the kind of person that is going to be able to have the capacity to basically implement this. And as a State Department for Trade, we have made a commitment that we are not going to post any more trade attaches who are not going to be posted on the basis of value chains. And this is something that I believe over the next 1 or 2 days we'll be able to refine at this conference so that then we're able to move coherently. And now to your question, Ambassador Matwanga. The conversation on foreign affairs. We have 200 missions abroad. You are in consistent conversations with people out there who we are calling our markets. We have people coming into Kenya for conferences. We have people engaging us on all manner of things. How does foreign affairs become an instrument for us to advance and market our coffee in a way that gets us 1,000 shillings or more per kilo? What instruments do you have, and how are you going to deploy them for the benefit of coffee farmers?
Thank you, PS, and Your Excellency. Foreign affairs is a key player in marketing of Kenyan products, attracting investment in what we call within the ministry as the economic diplomacy pillar of our foreign policy. And this is a pillar that has been promoted very much by the presidency. And nowadays, just to let you know that whenever the president is on a foreign mission, he always asks, what is it that we are going to bring back home? And what we are going to bring back home is if we open up markets for more of our products, if we attract more investment in our various sectors. And these sectors, coffee is key among them. So as foreign affairs in our economic diplomacy, we work towards promoting our Kenyan produce, tea, coffee, fruits, vegetables, and everything else. From my department, which I head, I'm the Director for Economic Affairs and Commercial Diplomacy. I work with all ministries and state departments to promote what they produce and to attract investment. And of course, as the moderator has said, Kenya has got around 60 missions outside there. We consider these missions as the first point of marketing and promotion of Kenyan products. And as it has been said, we have commercial attaches outside there in most of our missions. But there's a point we need to note. There is one thing having a commercial or a trade attaché outside there. There is another thing facilitating them and enabling them to do what they are supposed to do. And that is the first point of my discussion, if I were to say. Promotion of coffee is very important. You cannot have the best coffee from Kiambu, from Meru, or from anywhere in Kenya, you must let people know about it. The challenge we have, most of our missions do not have promotional material for the coffee that we produce, for the best coffee that everybody knows. When you go outside there, everybody knows Kenya has the best coffee. But where is it? You'll rarely get it in many shelves outside there. Our missions, our trade attaches, they are there, but most of them, when you ask them, they always ask me, they want promotional coffee, they want promotional tea. We need to invest in providing or supporting the promotional activities of our missions. Of course, as the moderator said, the commercial and trade attaches, they work under the purview of the ambassadors and high commissioners. We need to do everything possible to empower our officers outside there to do the promotion. It is not, from the point of foreign affairs, it is not just our missions outside there. We have easy access to other missions based in Kenya, or even where we don't have missions, foreign affairs has a way of reaching out to those markets. We need to work very closely with the relevant ministries and even with the private sector. That is part of our role, to make sure that we reach out as much as possible. The second point beyond promotion is what the CS has mentioned, the issue of value addition and value chain development. Most of the time, we just have Kenyan coffee. If you get it in Korea, it's one of the markets that our coffee is very visible. In fact, 2 months ago, I was in Korea and I could see Kiambu coffee, Nyeri coffee, Baringo coffee, and it's very well presented. But one thing we need to know is that we need to present our coffee outside there in a form and manner that can be attractive to the consumers. We should know what the Japanese market likes, how they would like their coffee to be packaged, how the Asian market likes it, how the European market likes it, how the American market likes it. Not any market is the same. And if we make a mistake of going with the coffee that we went with to the Middle East, to Europe, I think we shall be making a mistake. 3 weeks ago, we were in Israel. When I asked for promotional materials, I was given promotional materials, but when I looked at them, these are materials which had been used in the Arab world. We could not even use them because the Israel market is not incongruent with the Arab market. They wouldn't like to know that we are promoting to them the same thing we promoted in another market. So the value addition aspect, to make sure that we target markets appropriately according to their taste and need, is very important. And the issue of value chain development. From coffee, people make confectionaries, people make beauty products, but most of the time, our coffee goes out in bulk, or if it is packaged, it's just the basic coffee. We think everybody wants to drink coffee. Why can't we earn more, plan to earn more from coffee by enhancing the value chain, other products that can come from the same? The third thing I would like to mention from the foreign affairs point of view is about sustainability. When I talk to our colleagues who are helping us market and promote our products outside there, most of our supply chains are very short-lived. In the east coast of the US, there is a Kenyan who got a contract with one of the coffee chains. He was to be supplying 4 containers every week, or every month, not every week. It was only supplied once. The next month, they could not supply. How can we make sure that the issue of sustainability of our supply chains are sustained. Because when the Kenyan lost that, the Ethiopian took it and has been running it for the last 10 or so years. Of course, it's one good thing the Cabinet Secretary has said we are going to open warehouses in strategic places. That is very good. And let's make sure that the supply to those warehouses will be sustained so that when somebody has tested the Kenyan coffee and wants to get more, it is readily available. And from the foreign affairs point of view, we are ready to work with all the stakeholders in the coffee subsector to make sure that we benefit to the maximum. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A round of applause to Ambassador Matwanga. And as you can see, this is the value chain in practice. And this is really what we want to strengthen and institutionalize. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for those comments. Two things, maybe in this panel or even in subsequent panels, that we will need to talk about is how we ensure that we do not get the pain from having to look for the pain in as far as the scarcity of dollars when it comes to sale transactions abroad. It's hurting us in tea, it's hurting us in coffee, and many other commodities. This is something that we'll really have to think through. Maybe there's a panel coming after this that will be looking at that. And as we move ahead, I would like now to invite Honorable Senator Njeru Ndwiga, who's former senator for Embu, but is somebody who is well known and fondly remembered for issues concerning coffee reforms. And for him, I think my question to him is very simple. As somebody who has championed coffee reforms, what you are hearing from our colleagues, how does it sit with you?
Thank you, Your Excellency, Deputy President. First of all, let me start by saying that I have listened to you many times. And when people want to hear your wants and what you are saying, some of us are looking for something different. We are looking for something from within. Because coffee reforms will not, and you said it, coffee reforms will not be done on the desk and in other places. You've got to be passionate. And I want to thank you because I see that passion in you. And I know, then therefore, we are going to get places. This is a part of a long journey of coffee reforms. And I will remember that in the early, late 90s, actually early 90s, when we started reforms, and I'm happy to see Mheshimiwa Kiraitu Moronge here, because in Parliament we formed a team. We formed a team called COTEPA, Coffee and Tea Parliamentary Association, which was then chaired by the late John Mishuki, and Kiraitu was the secretary then, and I was its treasurer. So it's been a long journey. And to date, we are seeing a lot of things, because a lot of things have happened. But these piecemeal reforms have not helped the sector. That's why I am happy that today we are meeting in Meru. First, to look at what we have on the table. And on the table, we have got the coffee bill, which in the last parliament, I, as chairman of agriculture, we passed in the Senate. And I am happy the new Senate has taken up the same bill, and they have done it, a few amendments, whatever it is, we will look at those. I am happy that they're going through with that bill, because therein lies the answer to the problems we are discussing here. The coffee problem started in in the 90s, and very many people don't even know why we are where we are. We are where we are because of some people, and they have delegates in here, Your Excellency. Those people, the war was to kill KPCU. And that was but there was nothing else. It was to cure KPCU so that we start other moribund millers and start other marketing agencies. That was the reason. And they did succeed to some extent because they got their way, their millers, they got their licenses, they got even statutes changed in Parliament at that time. They became marketing agents, now they are marketing agents. And I will tell you, because this is going to be very, very unpopular with some of us seated in here. All these mills which are now started all over the country, Your Excellency, most of these are white elephants. Why do I say so? When this country was producing 100 and close to 40,000 tons of coffee, we had one mill, KPCU. We had one KPCU, one mill. Now, we are now producing, we are at what? This year about 50,000 metric tons, and we have almost 20 mills. We have almost 20 mills. These are white elephants. I know I am going to be very unpopular with the people who are leading those mills, but I want you to look at these statements 10 years from today, because that is the truth. That until and unless we begin to look inwards where our problem is, because our problem is not with the consumers. Our problem starts with us, and is with us, starting from our cooperative societies that has been same governance all along, from the cooperative society all the way up. And I really do hope, those of us who've been in the reform sector for this long, I really do hope that this sector, when we put in institutions, because we need strong institutions, that we will have strong leadership in those institutions. Because that's where it all is. Strong leadership in those institutions. People who will be passionate to lead this sector, where this sector should be going. Honorable Kuria did mention, I think that happened once. Me and your brother, your late brother, we, at one time, when we were championing coffee, we made statements that from now on, Kenya coffee will not leave Mombasa in bags. It will live in either cans or in tins, value added. The Chancellor of Germany came here. And the reason we were saying that was we just come from Berlin, where they were congregating all the world coffees from the Latinos, from Africa, from wherever, and then exporting it. Can you imagine that Germany then was the biggest exporter of coffee, and there isn't even one bush of coffee in that place, but they were the biggest exporters of coffee. When we came back, we said, now this does not make sense. And these fellows are dictating prices to us, that this is how much we will buy your coffee. And one time we asked, and I remember it was a meeting where then the president was Kibaki. That's why the man came. As when we want to buy a Mercedes, you walk to the showroom, and you have no option to discuss the price. The price is fixed, it's there. Take it or leave it. So why is it that our coffee people are telling us how we should take it to them? Your Excellency, you have traveled, and all of you have traveled. You have gone to all these cities, all these Starbucks, and wherever in the world. Tell me, where did you go and find in a cafe that this is Kenya AA, this is Kenya AMB, this is Kenya PB? Nowhere. All of it is Kenya AA, wherever you go. What happens? At the exchange here, a bag of AA maybe that week or that month was bought at $450. Now the other bags, the lower grades, would you believe it? Some of them go for as low as $50. $50 per bag of 50 kg. That is $1 a kilo. If you divide that kilo by 6.5 to get how much that is in sherry, it is cents. It is not even shillings. If you divide, how much that is, in terms of sherry. So what we have to look at today, and I am happy we are talking about value addition, is for how long? Those of you who do not know the history of cooperatives and the history of coffee, is that coffee, when it was brought by the white man, by the colonialist, it was not meant for you, it was meant for them. Even after you got independence and you grow the coffee, it is not yours. It's meant for them. 60 years later, after we've all gone to school and we are where we are today, we are still behaving like my grandfather was the one who wasn't planting that coffee. It is time to change. And it is time to change, and I think that this conference will come up with what it is that we are looking for in terms of reforms in the coffee sector, so that the farmer eventually gets what is due for them. But I do know it's not going to be easy. But I'm happy because now I can see where it is being championed from. I'm very comfortable. I know it will work. Because these people are not easy. I want to see easy. Even when we are doing it at the Senate, one day you would get one of our members saying, but these things, why are we removing these people? Who is going to sell the coffee for us? Our coffee sells itself. Yes. It is known worldwide. All you need to do is remove those fellows. The reason why we are poor as coffee farmers is because our coffee is not available to the people who want to pay top dollar for it. The other fellows, the fellows who manipulate the NSC, are only 6, Your Excellency. They are not more than 6 fellows who manipulate the NSC. They are 6. I'll give you the names so you can get to know who they are in different names. And I know you know because you mentioned they come in different forms. One company and another company. And I can tell you, keep carry on, when they started trading with the good beans of Korea, now they're getting top dollar. All the other farmers here who deal with directly with the importers, they're getting top dollar. But our own people, the leadership of cooperatives, they don't want that. Why? They want to UCO. Those years when we were going to school and getting and paying school fees, I want to finish. This is the very last one. When it's coffee, I can speak the whole day. But those days when we were doing that, our cooperative societies were not in debt. They were not in debt at all. Because, number one, the first AGM of the year is to fix the budgets for the year. So why are we borrowing? We are borrowing money to do what? Today you are being told everywhere that we need to pay this. I'm sure wherever he goes, is we want subsidy. Really, for what? What happened to the money? And coffee was not given, coffee was paid. Anyway, I want to end there right now. I don't want to end there, but I have to end there because of the
time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. The reason why we have problems, and fortunately I was at the cooperatives, and we changed the laws before I left. The problem we have in our cooperatives is the leadership in our cooperatives. We have leaders who don't even have that coffee. Can you imagine that you have a chairman of a cooperative society for 2 years was 200 kilograms. where do you think he will eat? Eh? This fellow will move his office, his sitting room to, to the society. So you find 9 of them in your towns, Weko Ukumeru, from one cooperative society, until they have come to see the bank manager and get their stipends. That is where our problem is. Our problem starts from down there. And I know because we have discussed this with the Minister Cherugui, that this will know, if we can enforce those laws is what kind of leadership. And now I know it is going to happen. Because I know those days fellows would even want to go to court and say, no, you cannot interfere with our cooperatives. You know, about markets, and I am happy, C.S. Kuria also talked about opening new markets. At one time, we had finished issues of marketing Kenya coffee. We got All China Federation of Cooperatives. Those of you who don't know, China is a cooperative country. And their vice chairman, the chairman came here, and he met President Kibaki then. And we agreed that all Kenyan coffee will be processed and packaged here and labeled in Chinese and taken to their supermarkets. Those supermarkets also are cooperatives. Do you know what happened, Your Excellency? KPCU was supposed to be the one doing that. They took me to court. Walipeleka waziri kwa court. Wakasema, you cannot interfere with us, we are a private entity. Fortunately, for them, elections came and I was voted out. So it was very fortunate for them. But, but that did not silence me. I am here today, talking about the same thing and saying we know the market for our coffee is there. And those low grades which are fetching $70 and $100 at the exchange, wacha tusifanyie hapa Meru. The problem is that we don't consume our own coffee. When we were going to school and getting top dollar on our coffee, we were consuming our coffee. Most of you will remember Kahawa Ngoma, Kahawa #1, KK Kahawa. Those were our coffees and they were available. Today you go to the kiosk here, you will not find coffee there. You won't find. You would have found a Nescafe imported from other places. Our coffee is not there, Your Excellency. Yet our farmers are getting cents for coffee, which we ought to have done in Meru here. So I want to congratulate you, C.S. Kuria, for what you are doing. Let us get those low grades which fetch nothing out there. Let us value add those things here. Let's value add here, locally, and consume it here. Can you imagine, Governor Kawera, if all your schools were consuming that coffee? Yeah, do you know coffee is good for students? If they are consuming that coffee, right? So you've already got a market for that coffee. Your hospitals, everywhere, we've got a market for our coffee. It is there. And the opening of warehouses. Africa alone, Your Excellency, right now with our 40,000 metric tons, it is not enough. It's not enough. Kupeleka Africa, only here Africa. Wacha kusumbua na mzungu. No, you said you don't want to sound racist. Me, I'm Mau, so me, I don't care. Muzungu can go wherever they can go. Because those are people who have impoverished us deliberately. Deliberately. The agents are here. One fellow is a miller. He buys our coffee, but he's buying on behalf of several outlets out there. When you go out there, ask the small roasters. There's one roaster, I mentioned that to Mheshimiwa Cherugui, who showed me invoices of how much he had bought Kenyan coffee. I didn't know that Kenyan coffee is bagged coffee. A, B, yote, imemixiwa yote, even the lights are there. And they was buying that coffee at $1,200 a bag, right? When you check where the bag came from, maybe at the auction here it was something else. Check this if you want to prove me right. When we have sold our coffee at the exchange, by the time it gets to Mombasa, nataka uende Mombasa when it's being loaded, and check, you will not see a bag labeled Kenya AA, or Kenya B, or Kenya PB, or Kenya whatever. No, all of it is Kenya coffee. Fellows will buy our coffee, some at whatever price, then all of it is bagged together. And when it gets there, it is Kenya coffee. We are also losing money. We are looking for money now as a government and as a country. In that process, we are losing a lot of money. And those are some of the things we need to look at. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Honorable Ndwiga, for that. I think you're a voice that we need to listen to more and more. And I've received, I'm seeing a request from Honorable Mbarire to ask a quick question. My suggestion is let's take that question and then I will indicate how we are proceeding to close, because we need to close.
Well, mine is not a question. I just want to add my voice because I feel we know the problem and we know where we want to get. And being a child of coffee, educated with coffee, I want to get to the bottom of it without mincing words. One, our coffee sector is predominantly 3 companies. And I'll mention them. I don't know why we don't want to mention them. We have Newman, we have Econ, and Sukafina. Or is it Sukafina, something like that. They mill in the following companies. Newman has a milling company called NKG Coffee Mill. Ecom has a milling company called Central Kenya Coffee Mill. Sukafina has Kahawa Bora Millers. And Ecom again has another one called CMS Mills Limited. The same companies transform themselves into marketers. Ecom has a marketing company called Coffee Management Services. Newman has a marketing company called Tropical Farm Management. Sukafina has one called Suka Sustainability. Ecom has another one called Oaklands Coffee Management. Ecom has another one called Sustainability Management. Then they move ahead and become buyers. Newman has one called Ibero, a buyer. Ecom has one called C. Doman. Sukafina has Kenya Coffee Limited. Now, if we don't deal with those cartels, because those are the cartels we are talking about, we will be wasting 2 days here pretending, talking, going round, and we are not mentioning those names. I have mentioned them. Let me see what happens to me today. It's about time we face those people on the face and tell them enough is enough. So stop going around these stories. And they come every time key ministers are appointed. All they do is go to them, and I'm very happy these ones have said no. Go to them with briefcases with dollars. And then they stop taking care of the farmers. So today I want to know, are we dealing with these cartels or not? And if we are dealing with them, how? How are we dealing with these cartels? Because let me tell you, we cannot continue to lead farmers who are suffering, not because they don't work hard, because we have cartels who have taken over even those cooperative societies. They make sure these cooperative societies never work. When there are elections, their chairmen, they prefer. They finance them. They give them money to take their coffee to be milled in their milling companies. We must deal with them squarely. And that is what I want to hear happening today. Otherwise, mutuambie hatuwezi na muambie deputy president hamwezi, tutoke twende. Na tusidanganyane hapa. This is a problem. Let us face it today.
Thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause for Honorable Governor Cecily Mbarire. Your Excellency, this takes us very, very well as a segue to our next panel, which is basically going to be led by the governors. But before we do that, I would like us to put our hands together for our panelists.
PS.
No, just a moment.
I think Cecily Mbarire has said something very important.
Let me,
And it's important we all give the commitment to Cecily Mbarire, because Linturi here is a licensing authority, and he may want to say something about that.
Excellent. So let us have direct responses to what Honorable Mbarire has said. From where you sit, what are you going to do?
yeah, thank you very much, and I'm very proud of Cecily's Mbarire's courage and really mentioning up those people that are really trying to fleece our farmers. I was trying to ask Kuria, because this is the first time to hear about these companies at my level. But why are you shouting? I'm telling you, when this conference was brought here, and I think the deputy president said, Meru is a country of brave men. I'm the one who has asked to speak. And I've asked to speak because I cannot feign ignorance. I am very particular when it comes to some issues of integrity and issues that touch on our people. I've picked this mic to ask my coffin directorate from HAFA to confirm whether these people are licensed by us and by HAFA, so that I can make a commitment on what we want to do. That's what why I'm saying. Aundi, are you here? I'm a chairman HAFA. Aundi, Akuma, you are the coffee. Who is the director coffee? Please answer to this matter.
Hello. Okay, Mr. Audi, or the people that have been referred to, we want a quick and direct answer. Let's listen to them. Quick and direct answer.
Hello.
Let's listen, please, let's listen.
Yes. It is true. It is true. Thank you, His Excellency, the Deputy President. The CS, it is true. I want to confirm. I'm Benson Apoyo, the Acting Director, Coffee Directorate. It is true, as has been confirmed by Her Excellency Cecily Mbarire, it is true that they are licensed by us, Coffee Directorate, under AFA, Agriculture and Food Authority. It is true.
Okay, so we have the answer.
So this is the direction I'm giving. Immediately we come back to the office on Tuesday morning. We'll have a meeting with you. We cannot allow this to happen. If they want to take me to court, they can do it. We will sit down and see how to revoke those licenses so that we have a way of to end that cartel nature. Although Ndrega tells me the coffee bill is also a solution to the problems that the industry is facing. But before we get to the passage of the law, I will deal with it as long as I have the force and the power of law to deal with it next week.
Thank you very, very much. I think this goes to the core of why we are here, and regardless of the issues of time, I think we really need to spend some time getting some responses. And let's hear now from Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives.
Your Excellency, on that point by Cecily Mbarire, the coffee bill, which I mentioned in my presentation, has some gaps. And those gaps can only be, they have mentioned actions like you cannot be a marketer, you cannot be a broker, you cannot be a processor in that bill. But the process has taken almost 10, 15 years. And there is deliberate intention to delay it. So For us, Your Excellency, the direction you gave, immediately after we are done here, we will convene and redo, and I believe the drafters are here. We convene the Office of the Auditor General, of the Attorney General, and also parliamentary drafters and Senate drafters. We ask them to come so that we can pick these issues and capture them in the law. My colleague here has committed that he can handle them administratively, but that could be short term because they will frustrate again through the process. But still, Monday and Tuesday, if you take that action, honestly, we can begin to feel and see the impact of this coffee reform.
Your Excellency, what's the chairman of cooperatives, you know that even the chairman of cooperatives, their problem right now with this bill is that there's nowhere where they'll be touching the money once this bill is passed, except the 10% which is allowed for running the society. They will give you all other excuses. And you know, I don't know whether you wonder why this bill is, why there is all this harambaru yote and a coffee bill. It is because the interests are very, very, very high all over. Even our own members of parliament, some of them have told me, unajua naambiwa na watu wetu hii kitu ispite kama finance bill. Hata ya kahawa wengine wanaambiwa ispite because those chairmen out there, there's no way they will touch the farmers' money once we pass this bill.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ndwiga, for that. Let's hear from Honorable Moses Kuria, specifically on the issues as raised by Honorable Mbarire.
I want to thank my sister Ses for being very bold and courageous. And kweli ugali inatoka kwenye unga, sababu tumesikia jage wa Mbarire tena. Now, what will happen next week after CS Mithika Linturi takes his action? And I want to support him. Sheria ifuate baadaye. First take administrative action. We have agreed with the CS Mithika. He's going to revoke all licenses, everybody apply afresh. Yeah? So that we start from zero. Kila mtu akuja alete kesi yake. Now, as it happened to the little Gachagua, what will happen? These people start telling us, hii kahawa huko auction, it is not going to be bought. Ama zilikuwa liduga. The same intimidation. So next week, as Linturi revokes licenses, I will call a meeting of Council of Governors and all coffee governors to agree on mitigation measures that counties can take to ensure that those cartels cannot sabotage us at the auction and at the marketing level. Finally, and I've seen the majority leader is here, is these people also, they become financiers. They also, is a marketer, umesahau hapo says, they are also the lenders. They give you money loans and they give you in dollars. They give you in foreign currency and you have to pay in shilling. And you know how the currency is. That's the biggest enslavement there is. So I want to ask Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah to go and look at the budget again with Didi Nyoro. Let us put more money in AFC and in commodities, in coffee fund, so that we are able to replace those people, so that we can give our cooperatives money that is affordable. But I want to warn governors, even if we put money in the coffee fund and in AFC, those chairmen of cooperatives don't want that money because they get a commission and a kickback from those Akina Sokifnaf and those other lenders. So it is up to you now also, do your bit also, rein in on those people and make it illegal immediately for any cooperative to take money other than from AFC or from Coffee Fund. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I think now we are winding up this session. I think it's been a very good session. We are having further sessions coming up. You can ask the questions then, but I think it's really time for us to be able to proceed. And I really want us to give a round hand of applause to our panelists as they take back their seats. They have really done a good job today. Thank you very, very much. And as I leave, I want us to just have one last reflection as I leave. We've been talking about high-value coffee and so on and so forth. When I Googled my phone right now, I noticed that Walmart is actually selling things called Nature-Wise Green Coffee Bean Extract for weight loss. $21 for 30 capsules. I'm seeing VitaPost Green Coffee Plus Supplement for weight loss, 60 capsules, $28. Why don't we also, in addition to coffee being drunk, what we are calling the low-value beans could actually be input for pharmaceutical products that can actually be marketed. We get the active ingredient from them and sell them at $30, $40 as part of that value proposition. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, PS Trade, Alfred Kombudo. Ladies and gentlemen, we are well underway within our program. Due to the interest of the subject matter at hand and the interest of time, we will proceed until we can break much later on for our lunch. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have had all integral parts discussed by our honorable cabinet secretaries, the ambassador from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the chairperson of the Coffee Reforms Committee, Honorable Jeru Ndwiga. At this juncture, you probably have heard that we have about 70% production of coffee from small-scale farmers. And indeed, those are the most key and integral people when it comes to proper reforms. At this juncture then, we will be covering an area pertaining to the farmers. Yesterday, we had a long day and day-long meeting with the farmers to discuss exactly what they would want to see changed within the coffee sector. Our plenary session now will be based on what do the farmers want to see and how do they want to get there. Tunajua kwamba 70% ya kahawa ambayo inatengezwa hapa nchini ama inakuzwa, basi inapandwa na wakulima wadogo, na hao wako hapa. Kwa hivyo basi, tutakuwa tunapata wakulima hao watueleze kinaga ubaga basi ni nini walipata kujadiliana jana, na ni vipi watapata kupata hayo mabadiliko. Wacha ni muombe sasa mkulima ambaye ni John Mshwe kutuongoza katika ratba hii. John Mshwe.
I'm John Muswe, or Mwalimu Muswe, and I'm the owner of this farm. This is a coffee farm in Kagai. Kagai is in Mwea, and Mwea is other items.
Naam, asante sana. Thank you, Your Excellency. We wish at this juncture then to proceed with the panelists from the Council of Governors, where we're going to be covering the aspect of what devolution plays in ensuring the benefit of the coffee value chain. What is the role of devolution to make the farmer benefit from the end-to-end coffee value chain? I wish to invite the Vice Chairperson of the Agricultural Committee in the Council of Governors, His Excellency Mutahi Kahiga, who is also the Governor of Nyeri County. Our panelists will be the governors present here. We have Busia Governor, His Excellency Paul Lutuoma, Laikipia, His Excellency Joshua Irongo, Baringo, His Excellency Benjamin Cheboy. We have Bomet, His Excellency Hilary Barichok. We have Embu, Her Excellency Cicely Mbarire. We have Meru, Her Excellency Kawera Mwangaza. We have Nandi, His Excellency Stephen San. Excellencies, most kindly, we request you to proceed to the plenary so that we may discuss rather thoroughly and openly how devolution affects the coffee production and ensuring benefits to all key stakeholders, including farmers. Karibuni sana. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I hope every governor has a seat. Thank you. Anybody else? Asante. Microphones, kindly. The Deputy President, CS is present, Excellency Governors, elected leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am here on behalf of my chair, His Excellency Governor Lusaka, who was in Mombasa and has not been able to make it. But we believe that this team is going to be representative enough. We want to appreciate the speakers who have spoken before us. And I would want to begin by introducing our whip, Governor Sang, who is seated there. We have our governor, our chair emeritus of agriculture, Governor Muthomi Njoke, who is now currently the chair health. We have Governor Benjamin Cheboy from Baringo. We then have Professor Barchok from Bomet, His Excellency, who you have heard is doing a lot with tea. We have the host governor, Governor Kawera, Kawera Bishop Mwangaza, and then we have the one who has just blown the house. The tough lady from Embu, our chair, UDA, and also the governor of Embu, Serire Barire, and I remember I'm reminding her the president told her she belongs to somebody, to Kae Square. Your Excellency, we have listened to the issues that have been raised. We are the people running the counties, and we are the people who have the farmers. We are all well aware in this hall the challenges we have in coffee, and I do not intend to go over them. But we need to ask ourselves, now that we are in a devolved system, what is the role of devolution to make farmers benefit from end-to-end coffee value chain? I don't think I have any better team than this team I have here. And I'm going to challenge them on a few areas. I will give them a specific area on which they speak so that we are guided and we do not waste a lot of time. I want to begin by asking our chair emeritus. We all know that we have quite a lot of challenges. We have the issues of poor governance that has been mentioned here. We do not know whether the men and women running our cooperative societies are perfect in what they are doing. We have the issues of aging coffee trees. It has been mentioned. Poor farming practices, coffee marketing and price volatility, which has been ably spoken about by Cicely Mbarire. We have limited value addition, and the invasion by the sector cartels that has just been spoken. I have the following questions for you. Governor Sang, how can county governments and stakeholders work together to improve market access for Kenyan coffee, ensure fair prices, and mitigate the impact of price volatility? And as you think about that question, Governor Muthomi, how can we collaborate with the research institutions and extension services to provide farmers with up-to-date knowledge and technology for sustainable coffee production? Governor Cheboy, what measures do we need to take to address the issue of aging coffee trees and encourage farmers to replant with the disease-resistant and high-yielding varieties? Professor, I don't know how much coffee you grow, but please tell us, how can the coffee sector in Kenya leverage technology and digital platforms to streamline the supply chain, improve traceability, and enhance transparency? And as you answer these questions, remember what Governor Cecily Mbarire has spoken about. That is the shell under which we are operating. I also want to talk to Bishop. What would be the role of counties in the digital transformation, especially for coffee factories? My sister, how will county government support and promote local value addition and local coffee consumption? Kindly, let's have your answers.
Thank you, Governor Kaiga. Thank you, Deputy President. And I want to first join everybody here in congratulating Ses Mbarire for just hitting the nail on the head. Your Excellency, these 2 days is valuable time from the counties and from everybody seated here. But I think we will do a great disservice to ourselves if we are going to just go through the program and deal with the superficial issues. We must just be honest with ourselves. The question directed to me in terms of marketing and the pricing. Clearly from the discussions that we had just here, there is the whole question on coffee starts and ends with conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. How do you allow one individual to be the one who buys the coffee, the one who finances the processes around coffee, the ones who mills, the ones who market, and the ones who buy, all the same, and it's one individual. And this has been allowed by the law. I am completely shocked when I heard the minister, Linturi, saying that he is hearing these names for the first time. Clearly there is a problem there. If your own directorate has been able to license all these, and as a minister you are hearing for the first time, it tells you that the cartels within the ministry and within this sector are playing at a very different level. We must be able to deal with this issue once and for all. And I think as county governments, we are at the point where we interact with our farmers. In terms of productivity, we are the entities that provide seeds. For example, my county and many other counties have been supporting our farmers in terms of provision of seeds. We have been supporting our farmers in terms of subsidy on farm inputs. We have been supporting our farmers in terms of supporting and building the cooperative societies. But I think our role, if you look at once you license these brokers, these millers, and these marketers, you reduce the participation of county governments. I, for one, in Nandi County, have developed a mill, but we had to work so hard to get the license from AFA for us to do that mill, and now we are also struggling to get the license to do the marketing, supporting our cooperative societies. Why can't we allow this space to be open to governments to support the process and be able to reduce the kind of cartels that we see in there? I want to propose, and I want to propose this because also we had a presentation by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have all our embassies. How is it possible that Baringo, for example, would go all the way to Korea, or Kipkelion would go all the way to Germany? Cooperative societies go all the way to Germany to secure a market. Yet we have our ambassadors and our commercial attaches in those countries, and they are not able to get us those markets. What does it tell us about the capacity of our ambassadors, the capacity of our staff that we send to our embassies in terms of securing this? If a governor can take time from Baringo all the way, a governor can take time from Nandi all the way, why can't we increase the capacity of these people so that then we can be able to move forward in that direction? I want to propose two things, honorable governors. and the delegates here. I want to propose two things. One, let us open up this space and get out conflict of interest. The reason why we have that conflict of interest, Your Excellency, most probably the leadership that has been, and also the leadership of this nation previously, had conflict of interest. I'm very happy that you confided to us here that you do not have conflict of interest within the sector, within the coffee sector. Members of parliament, this law, and I realized that when Linturi was put on the spot, all of us were clapping. Unfortunately, the bill in the parliament has been sitting in the parliament for almost 15 years. What has stalled the process in parliament? It actually means the same cartels have actually pocketed even members of parliament. Why? We want to be very honest. If at the end of the next 2 days here, if we are done with the recommendations in this meeting today, and we identify a small team to put together what we have agreed into law, we want to ask Mani Chungwa, together with Aaron Cheriot and your respective committees, why will it take you more than 1 month for you to do that law and ensure that you open up and ensure that we are all able to agree on a law that can be able to move us forward? If we are going to take another 3 or 4, 5 months, it actually means that we will have given these cartels an opportunity to start influencing one member of parliament after the other until we are not able to move. So I think at the end of the day, Your Excellency Deputy President, the law will set us free. We can talk about farm inputs, we can talk about the role of county government, but if you do not sort out the legal framework that ensures that no person or no cartels are allowed within the sector, we will be here in another 2-3 years still discussing the same thing. Let us sort out the law, and we have the members of parliament here, we have senators and members of the National Assembly. We as county governments we will be willing within the next 2-3 months, not to two, 3 months, but 2-3 weeks for us to organize forums for public participation on that law, so that then we can move here. Officers within our counties, when you discuss with them how to deal with these cooperatives and ensure compliance with the law, they will tell us that they report to somebody called commissioner, is it commissioner of cooperatives, who is an officer in Nairobi. We do not know. These are cooperatives within Nandi County. Why am I being directed by a commissioner of cooperatives in Nairobi? We must be able to also deal with that particular element, so that then we can be able to devolve, allow us to deal with our cooperatives, allow us to re-engineer our cooperatives. If we want to put money, I am not going to put money into a cooperative society that I have no control over, that I cannot be able to audit. Why will I put money there? So if we can open up, you will actually allow county governments to continue budgeting and put resources, because we know those resources are going to be into good use. But otherwise, if you are shielding county governments out of the running of cooperative societies in terms of auditing, then we cannot be able to put our resources as county governments. So basically, from my perspective, it all lies on conflict of interest and the law. If we can fix the law, then allow us to continue doing that which we have to do. You have already done inputs, Your Excellency. The national government, you have given us, for the first time in almost 10 years, coffee farmers are benefiting from the subsidized fertilizer. Previously, it used to be only maize farmers. Now you are already supporting it. So really, we must allow the legal framework to be reviewed, and let us do it within the shortest time possible. What says Marina has done, as I can tell you, if we don't sort out within this window of 1 month, 1.5 months, the same cartels will regroup. They might even get to our county assemblies. They might get to the National Assembly. Why don't we use this window of goodwill from the president and the deputy president for us to sort out this law and ensure that within the next 1.5 months, we have sorted out the coffee once and for all, and we allow ourselves to move forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He is a lawyer. We allowed him to a few more minutes. Chair Emeritus.
Thank you very much, our Vice Chair. From the onset, I want to say that, yes, research is critical, but there are things that don't need research in our coffee sector, even before we go into financing that research. That everybody in this room who has coffee producing constituency or county knows very well that we have an aging set of production parameters as far as value chain is concerned. If you look at the average age for the farmers, the two of coffee in our counties, you will notice that youth are predominantly absent. If you look at our production technology, you'll notice that it's outdated. It is critical that we get our youth to be interested in engaging themselves in coffee farming. And I want to ask you, as we proceed, if we have noticed around our counties when we have elections for the cooperatives, they attract more interest than the seats of MCAs and members of parliament. Even the financing is bigger. Why would a cooperative chair of a factory or a cooperative society spend more money than an MCA or member of parliament in ensuring they're elected? That is where the rubber hits the road. And I'll tell you why. Almost every county in the coffee producing zones have milling factories now, or they have millers. But it is not all the farmers who want to mill their coffee in those mills that they have actually used their resources to put together. Half of them go and mill outside. Where do they take their coffee? Why is it that we allow them to take their coffee outside? It is very simple, because we don't have a law that caps them from taking the coffee outside. Where do they take the coffee? Of course, they take them to the same cartels that we've been talking about. So as if we do the law, we need to have a law that caps the farmers from taking away coffee from their counties and go milling somewhere else. Because there's power in numbers. You have a factory where you have cooperative societies, like 49 of them. 20 are milling in your miller. The other 29 are out there with the cartels we're talking about. You will definitely not have the value of numbers, and therefore they will fetch the less value, or they do not fetch good value for money because of their small numbers. On that particular issue, the war on the pricing of coffee is one on grading. Where you do the grading and capping is usually the millers. When you allow your coffee to go and be capped and graded by somebody else, and you're not there to see, and they give you grades on paper, how do you know that is the right grade? Because that is what has been happening. Your Excellency, that is where we lose it. Because the moment we allow that coffee to go and be graded somewhere else and capped somewhere else, the results we get is just what we are supposed to believe by faith. That is what grade was all about. And that is one of the reasons why we should ensure, and I can see my cooperative chair here, he knows what I'm talking about, all farmers must mill in our mills in the counties. We can fix the issue of governance, if that is the case, because we cannot do mills that are going to be just white elephants when people are milling somewhere else. The other issue is that the issue of the cartel has been transacted. However, we have to appreciate that 2 or 3 years ago, our coffee cooperatives, or rather farmers, very few of them had direct access to the market just here in Nairobi, in the Coffee Market Exchange and Coffee Marketing Authority. Today, most of our counties have managed to do that. However, and I want to quote my county of Tharaka Nithi, despite the fact that we've received a license to sell coffee in a Coffee Market Exchange and in the CMA, there are bureaucracies by the same cartels there, because they don't give our farmers the code that is required for them to be able to access the technicalities required to sell the coffee. And therefore, they have a license, but they can't sell their coffee. It is time, CS Linturi, as you revoke those licenses, you fix the issues around the Nairobi Coffee Exchange and the CMA to ensure that every county which has got farmers that have got a license to sell can be able to take the coffee to the market without any limitations. The fact that they do not have probably money to get their way around there does not mean that they have to be limited. The fact that they do not have a godfather for them to access that market there, it's not a good reason for them not to be given the okay or the leeway to be able to sell their coffee. And lastly, the issue of marketing by the ministries has been talked about here. I am very happy that Foreign Affairs has been involved, but it is not enough. It is not enough because we need to have involvement of the county governments and also the members of parliament in ensuring that we have a marketing forum, that we can be able to have our ambassadors out there, not only talk about or market our coffee, but also involve the value chain all the way to the county where the coffee is being produced, so that we can be able to have direct market in these areas. So that's what we're going to say.
Thank you very much, Emeritus. I want to welcome Governor Irongo and Wakili, Professor Otuoma. Yeah, Your Excellency, you can see we have some emerging markets like Nandi, like this. They don't have a problem with aging coffee trees. And I had given everyone a question, so I will also give you one. Now, Governor Irongo, what are proposed strategies to eliminate middlemen and cartels to enhance greater profits directly to the farmer? Think about that, because we are now with Governor Baringo. We are just a minute so that we can give our governor from Migori. I don't know whether you Busia, sorry. How many cooperative societies do you have dealing in coffee? You have only one. How do you improve its governance? I think that is well. So now, my governor, Baringo, kindly.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the question that has been asked by our moderator speaks squarely on how we can increase the quantum of coffee that is produced in Kenya for export out of this country. We were just told that Uganda is almost becoming the leading coffee producer in this region. And we have reduced our coffee from 140,000 tons to a paltry less than 50,000 tons. The reason is because some of the coffee producing counties have reduced production because of change of use of land. I think what we can do is, us as governors, will need to aggressively market coffee as a product that can be sold properly, that can get money. The issue of aging coffee trees, of course, we have been, the most important thing is how do we get it back, even the aging coffee trees, to be able to produce sufficient quantities of coffee. There is an issue of extension workers. The extension workers that have been in the counties for a very long time are aging, just like the farmers are also aging. So we need to invest in extension, very critically. And we need to motivate farmers to open more land for production of coffee. The moment we do that, then we can be able to increase the quantum of coffee. Of course, there is a direct motivation on the issues of marketing. If we sort out the issues of marketing the way it has been addressed earlier on, and I want to thank Cecily Mbariri for what she said, then there will be motivation by the farmers. In our county, we can have as much as over 10,000 hectares of coffee. Right now, we are doing maybe about 3,000. But if we were to move to 10,000, and the motivation is only the pricing and the marketing of coffee, I would like to commit these governors here that we shall be able to sort out the issue of extension workers to ensure that there is proper training of farmers on how to produce the best quality coffee and how to improve the quantum of coffee that is produced per bush. I was elated to hear that there is a farmer who can produce 35 kgs per bush. Just that, tweaking that. And I think the only way is through the farmers, through the good inputs, through the proper pesticides, and that kind of thing. The other thing that us as governors can do is to manage the cooperative movement. We will support our Minister for Cooperatives to ensure that cooperators are properly trained on the management of their cooperatives so that we can be able to produce and market the coffee properly. Lastly, of course, our role in the integration and the value addition process. I want to agree with my colleague, Governor Njuki here. that it is critical that we process this coffee at source. And many of us have got coffee factories, coffee mills that are in counties. The challenge with these marketers or the cartels is that they come and bribe cooperators so that they can send their coffee to Eldoret, to Nairobi, and all over. We have a coffee mill in Baringo County. But getting the farmers to bring coffee to the coffee mill is a problem because of the motivation that the cartels have in getting the coffee out of the county and being processed elsewhere, knowing that they are both the processors, the marketers, the financiers, and everything that can make the prices come down. We in Baringo are lucky. This year we were able to sell our coffee to Korea. And believe you me, we got more than 600 shillings per kilo of coffee. And this is because of direct marketing. If we deal with the issues of market, then the productivity of coffee in our counties will go high. We will even beat Uganda, and we can even get close to Colombia. Finally, Your Excellency, we may need also to motivate our farmers by taking them to places that produce coffee seriously, like Colombia and the rest. I want to end there and give it to the next person.
Thank you very much. As we also listen to Professor, before we do that, one time Senator Njerundwiga decided that anyone above 70 should not be in management of coffee or cooperatives. I know the backlash he got. Maybe he needs to tell us at a certain stage, because that is what Governor Cheboy has been speaking about governance, whether at 70 you are good to be a judge, but you are not good to be a cooperator. Maybe you need to think about that as we progress, and we listen to Professor.
Thank you very much, Chairman. You are right when you mentioned that Bomet is not known for coffee, but tea. But as Bomet, we have also started smelling the benefits that can come from coffee, and we have started warming up to it. And as a government, county government, we have started investing a lot in that particular area, purchasing and distributing seedlings to our farmers. And we have already 21 cooperatives dealing with coffee. So it's an area, as much as Chelugui has said, we may not need to increase the acreage, but I think it's good also to see other areas that have potential so that we can increase our productivity. I don't want to say a lot, but I want to congratulate my sister, Cicely, for being bold enough and saying the truth. I think that is what we need as a country so that we can move forward. Your Excellency, you always say the truth. And we also need other foot soldiers who can also say the truth. So thank you, Cicely. My question was on how we can leverage on technology and the digital space to enhance our productivity and also revenue that comes to our pockets. I think without belaboring the point, Your Excellency, digital space has given us opportunities. And probably that is the reason why even in the Finance Bill 2023, there is something that is coming to us in terms of a new revenue stream, monetization of whatever content that we have in digital space so that we can get money. As farmers and all the value chains that we have within not only coffee sector, but in the agricultural sector, we can take advantage of this. Your Excellency, I think the price that we can fetch in coffee, irrespective of the fact that we have mentioned that different markets have different tastes. But I think quality also impacts on that. And as a country, and particularly in the area of coffee, we have to embrace technology so that we can enhance on our quality. Even what we had mentioned earlier on, branching into different areas, getting derivatives from coffee, like what the peers had just mentioned some few minutes ago, it cannot happen unless we invest in technology. And that is one area where we need to embrace, Your Excellency. And I like the approach that we are using, multi-sectoral approach. The universities, people in the area of technology, how can we enhance productivity? Can we have your contribution? Secondly, Your Excellency, is organization of the entire chain, value chain that we have in coffee. The only way that we can be coordinated, because I think the experience that we have had is people taking advantages of our disorganization that we have in the sector, because probably a farmer in Bomet do not understand what a farmer in Meru is doing or Kirinyaga. So if we can have and take advantage of these technologies, especially in the sharing of information, I want to believe no one will take advantage of our farmers. Number 3, Your Excellency, is in the area of information. Technology is coming in to bridge the gap between research and practice. I know we have a lot of information, even in Caldo, but the question is that information that is supposed to benefit us, and particularly the farmers, is that information with the farmers or with the agents who can facilitate that? That is our extension officers. As counties, we are investing a lot of resources to employ extension officers. Sometimes we may not have enough resources to take them back to school or institutions such as Caldo to be updated in terms of information. But the digital space, we can have information systems so that our extension officers are actually empowered to empower our farmers. Then,
almost finishing,
finally,
Prof. Yeah.
Is in the issue of marketing. Yeah. CS, Hudia has mentioned, what is the problem if a farmer from Meru markets his or her own coffee from the living room, sitting room in his house or her house? It will only be possible if we make use of technology. I can track my process, how it is being auctioned, the money that has been able to fetch from the comfort of my home. And that is leveraging technology and digital space to enhance our productivity and our revenue. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Professor, now the host governor.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Mine will be very brief. I'm asked to share some light about digital transformation when it comes to county government. And I want to go back again to where Our Excellency says from Embu about the cartels. One, when you talk about digital transformation or transformation, we talk about people who have knowledge about technology. A good example is my mother, who is 70 and above today, and those are the kind of leaders that the cartels that we've agreed that we have are forcing our societies to have. The old people that are not able to use the latest technology or cannot even access digital information. So if we address the issue of cartels, those are trickling down up to our societies to micromanage who is supposed to be the manager, who is supposed to be the chairman, who is supposed to be who and who. If we are able as the government or we agree on how to handle the cartels, the issue of digital transformation will be very easy. Because as we stand or as we sit here today, I want us to agree, or you agree with me, even though it will not augur well with some of the chairmen who we have, that the age matters a lot when it comes to digital transformation. When we have chairmen who are 80 years old, some are 90 years old, and they are the chairmen, and the managers, and the directors, and everything that pertains to that society, then digital transformation becomes so hard for us to penetrate to assist the young farmers. And the same cartels that trickle upwards, downwards to our societies are the same people that produce or even give unto who is supposed to lead that society. Then as a county government, it's a bit hard unless we break the chain of the cartels, have young farmers who can also be engaged in leadership. I'm so surprised that when it comes to election of leaders, some few farmers are eliminated because maybe they don't have so many trees, they don't have a lot of kilos to take to the factories, and these are the young farmers that can assist us in digital transformation. So I want to disagree with the leadership down for society. The foundation of everything is very important. The genesis, the alpha of everything is very important. When it comes to leadership, if we are able to clean up the leadership from the factories or the societies, then we are able to raise our societies and also agree on how to transform our cooperatives or our business of coffee to bring it to digital platforms. So, Your Excellency, our Vice Chair, it is in this conference that I think we will have a way not only to have the few people, few wazés, who are very able in our societies to participate in elections. We need also to involve our young people, the people with very few kilos, let everybody participate so that we get good leaders that can assist us, that can be very available for us, that can be very transparent, that can be very accountable, rather than keeping the same leaders who have not performed for years and then rotating them back again to leaders. That one will either digital transformation. But for me, I support fully as the county government, that is the way to go. Digital is the way to go, and that is where the country is heading, that is where the whole county and the whole world is heading, and we need to embrace digital transformation as a county.
Thank you very much, the Bishop. I think we need to give her a clap. She is bold enough to say and to tell, to look you in the eye. I think she shouldn't have stopped there. She should have said, hand over the farms. Don't just hand over management. Even within the farms, hand them over to the younger generation so that they are able to move together. Even as we invite Cecily Barire, we are also going to ask her to touch, because I know she is also passionate. What is the role of women in coffee? In this problem we have here, is it because we have kept away the women who are supposed to bring flair, emotion, and all good things into coffee, and we have made it an all-male-dominated, you know? So there you are, Cecily.
Thank you, Session Chair. Let me just say it's true that the coffee sector is predominantly a male sector, partly because land is owned by men. The women just provide labor. And I'm only happy that there's a certain clause, and I hope it's looked at when those that are looking at the new law, which provides for some gender inclusion in those committees. So it's a rotational thing where every time a factory is allowed to bring a female representative into the cooperative. But the problem with that is that also they are seen not to be fit because they don't necessarily own coffee. So we need to find a way to make sure we bring more women into the management and leadership of the coffee sector, and make sure that they are well trained. I want to say that it is saddening that we are number 5 in the world, but in Africa we have Ethiopia leading at 39% of coffee. Uganda, believe it or not, is next with about 35%. Tanzania is ahead of us. And I don't believe there's anything special about those countries that we don't have. Ours is just the issue of production and management of our coffee sector. So I would like to first start by saying that, Your Excellency, I strongly believe the coffee sector now needs a special fund. Why do we need a special fund? And I know many development partners would support that. One, most of our factories are still running with very, very old machinery. The machineries that were set up in the 60s and the 70s is what they are using to date. Now, we need to improve those machineries for what is it called? Removing the pulping, yes, pulping. And buy the eco-pulpers because the old ones use a lot of water and there's a lot of waste in it. So, and those eco-pulpers are not cheap. The factories themselves may not be able to afford. I know most governors seated here have been able to buy a few for some factories through support, through the NARIC program and other programs that are coming through development partners. But I think we need to consciously upgrade those pulpers so that we go for eco-friendly pulpers so that we can be able to do more, use less water, and there will be less wastage. Number two, we need to consider using solar dryers so that we are not taking so much time trying to dry our beans, and in the process, some quality of those beans is taken away by over-drying them in the sun every day and the handling that goes with it every single day. So if we can get that kind of money, Your Excellency, will be able to do a lot for our farmers. And then make sure that the farmers can access credit facilities, either for their farm inputs or for preparations of their coffee farms at single digits. At the moment, like in Embu, you'll find farmers are borrowing at 15%, 17%, 18%. It's completely unsustainable as a mode of financing. Let me go to my question on how do I think county government can promote local value addition and local consumption. I start by saying that I was very surprised because, you know, I'm just first-time governor. We held an expo in Embu County 3 months ago that the CS Chelugui and CS Kuria came. And then we also held another national expo in readiness for Madaraka, again led by the Cooperatives Ministry and Trade. Now, you'll be surprised at the value addition that people are doing in their homes in a small way. Huge and very good. So what these people need, number one, is to be able to access the coffee and be able to do more value addition and scale up their levels of production. For example, we have KIPES, and County Aggregation and Industrial Park will be a game changer for our counties and the country at large. Through KIPES, we'll be able to do aggregation at the county level. We'll be able to give these people who are doing value addition an opportunity to come and add value to their coffee, and then we market the coffee, and then we'll be able to get more money going to the farmer. So I'm happy about KIPES. The governors are extremely excited about KIPES, and we are supporting it, and it is a partnership between the national government and the county government. National government is putting in 250 million, county government is putting in 250 million. Please clap for that great idea.
That's a wonderful
idea. So we are hoping that through that we can be able to do more value addition, not just for coffee, but several value chains as each county is identifying. But I want to thank the national government for a very important thing they have done. They have zero-rated the packaging materials of our value-added products. So that includes coffee. Those packages are very expensive. Whether it is tea or coffee or any other product, they are very expensive. Once they are zero-rated, they make us more marketable and we are able to compete at the world space. So, and in terms of promotion of consumption, I think each county needs to come up with an idea of coming up with their own local coffee houses. You don't have to have a Java because it's for high end. We need to have smaller coffee houses, even at village level, where we give young people a coffee maker and ensure that there's some nice work environment around there where now old wazers, mamas, everybody in the village can come and have a nice cup of coffee. I think that is what we've lacked as a country. We need to come up with a serious marketing strategy to make sure our people begin to take coffee and take it like we do tea. And somebody actually mentioned, why can't we encourage consumption of coffee in the schools? And maybe that's why we should also begin, so that our children can begin to grow with the coffee consumption culture, like is in the case in the West, so that we can make more money out of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's give Sister a wonderful clap. I thought she would say, you don't preach a gospel you don't believe in. We should be the first people. And we ask Kawera Mwangaza to sign an executive order that there shall be, that no tea shall be served here until we leave, so that we all take coffee. Yes. Because we should be the first people. Yes. Maybe just to see, Your Excellency, let's see how many people have taken a cup of coffee in the last 1 week. Or in the last 1 week. You see, it's not everybody. Yeah? Majority of us are taking tea. So I think she has thrown the challenge to us. Let's change the way things are. I believe I still have a few more minutes for Governor Irongo and, okay, Governor Irongo, we have a few more minutes.
Asante. Asante. Let me first start by congratulating and saluting the great leader, the Deputy President. As you have said earlier, is that a great leader is the one that is able to face and handle decisions, the hardest decisions. I want to recommend you because today we are here in this forum just because of a hard decision of cartels. And as my question is reflected on what should we do to increase the profit from the farmers, it has been talked by everyone. Everyone has spoken on it. It's about law, it's about alpha, it's about regulating in terms of how licenses are being given. And I'm sure that as much as our CS have given a commitment by next week, he is going to do something. I'm happy that the other day we saw what happened to KEMSA. So even this alpha, if our Deputy President as a great leader, you can take it on. I'm sure that you save the farmers. Again, something else is I'm also happy, and I want to salute you at this forum because of the other decisions that you are making. I'm sure it can cost you in terms of votes, in terms of the elections and all that, but you have managed and decided that for the security and for this country and for the benefit of this country, you have made a personal decision that the nation is greater than an individual. You are handling with the illicit brew, which we are happy about it. I know what that means. You are fighting with the cartels. So even this cartel on the issues of coffee, I am sure that you're going to win this war. Some of us, we are not looking for any other vote. And many of us who are here, we are not looking for any other votes. And therefore, we want to commit ourselves that we are going to help you fight these cartels. And I'm happy again that you decided that Laikipia was not one of the counties that was included. It wasn't included. And Laikipia County has never been considered as one of the coffee growing counties. And therefore, allow me first to convince and put a case for Laikipia, for many of us who are seated here, that as much as we are talking about cartels, as we are here as Laikipia, a very potential county, to many of us who are here, that we can be able to increase the productivity of this country, because the schedules as Kahiga have mentioned, is that many of the counties who have changed our agricultural land uses to other real estates and all the other, like Laikipia County would offer us Laikipia has even taken lead in terms of doing that by opening a number of areas, in terms of promoting cooperative society, in terms of enhancing where lanes in that. And therefore, I want just to retaliate in terms of giving some coffee growing. I just want to take 1 minute. That the main coffee growing areas in Laikipia are two wards, that is Githiga and Marumanet wards in western side of the county. Currently, more than 600 farmers have over 130,000 mature coffee plants. That's over 100 hectares that we are covered. And this season, this year, Laikipia County have made a commitment and have given to young farmers, young people, where we are all struggling about our cooperatives and the coffee sector being led by old people. Laikipia County have made a conscious decision that we are going to promote coffee to our young people, where we have supplied this year over 20,000 seedlings of coffee to the young farmers, so that they are able now to change the whole sector. The issue of these cartels, Laikipia County have been dependent on the coffee management service from Eldoret. These are the guys who are buying our coffee, and they are buying at 324 shillings per kg. But surprisingly, Laikipia County has been selling coffee. Even many of our smallholder farmers are selling coffee, cherry berry at the farm, on the farm, and because of that they don't have the processing plants. And this is one of the areas that we would request, and we are working on, and we would want to partner to work on this and establish the processing where we can be able to increase the quality of our coffee. And therefore, for me, in this forum, is where to open up to Laikipia as one of the other frontier that can be used to increase the productivity, so long as the market issues have been addressed. And therefore, count on us as Laikipia. And Laikipia, we have offered again, in terms of marketing, in terms of the area, we have set aside 2,000 acres for industrial park, where we can be able to even doing the warehouses, the processing plants for this coffee, and increase the productivity, as well as increasing the quality of the coffee that we are selling. So for me, in terms of how can we increase the profit to our farmers, is just a matter of dealing with these cartels through the law and through the AFA, which has been given the mandate to do the licensing of coffee industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Governor Paul Otuoma. Is it working?
Asante sana. Your Excellency, some people may wonder why I'm here. I'm from Busia, not Migori.
Sorry.
And you may be wondering whether Busia grows coffee or not. Your Excellency, before I even say whether Busia grows coffee or not, I'm also here to represent Meru. I'm an adopted son of this area. The one seated next to you there is my brother-in-law. I'm unaniruka. So Meru's business is also my business, Your Excellency. Having said that, Busia also grows some coffee, although not to the scale that we could be talking about. But there's reason for that. One of my colleagues there asked me whether I have come to represent Chepkube, because we were very famous in those days. Some people may not know what Chepkube is, but that was during the coffee boom of the 70s and 80s, where Busia and Bungoma were the leading coffee, was it producers or traders? Traders in those days. So I'm here just to talk about governance issues. Your Excellency, I'll just use the examples that were spoken here. One, there was the Agricultural Committee and also the members of parliament from coffee growing areas. And none other than Waziri Kuria, I think he has left, when he said they were frustrated with the kind of activities or reforms they were trying to bring in the sector. Then the key question, where did that frustration come from? We have got Agricultural Committee of the Assembly and the Senate. From what we were told here again, there have been efforts, but those efforts have not yielded the required outcomes. What has been the root cause of this problem? Thirdly, Your Excellency, Waziri here, my brother-in-law there, you have seen the surprise here that who licenses these companies. And you saw him asking AFA, one of his agencies, who came up and said they are the ones licensing. And he said from now henceforth, he's going to take some action. Your Excellency, the reason I'm saying all this, this is what affects what we are calling governance issues. Who is doing what, and what is stopping them from doing what they are supposed to do. And I think our able governor here, Cecil Mbarire, was able to put on the table where the problems are. The former minister, our brother again, Ndwiga, Honorable Ndwiga, talked about even the frustrations he faced as a minister when he was in charge of cooperatives, to an extent of being threatened to be taken to court. And again, I'm not very sure that he lost elections fairly. I'm not trying to say that we don't lose elections fairly. We do lose fairly. But you know how cartels sometimes, when they have got interest, will be interested in the outcomes if you seem to be opposing them. And we have seen this even happening to members of parliament. Having said all that, then the key issue is on governance. Why have we allowed cartels to become even more powerful than the regulating authority, which is government? And Your Excellency, I want to join those who have said that it needs somebody with guts to provide leadership, because the answer is known. Where the problem is known. But we just need guts to make sure that we do what is rightful for the coffee farmers in this republic, and will change the fortune of our people. Our coffee is good. I have seen it everywhere. I was in Canada 3 weeks ago, and I went into Walmart, and I saw a machine there in the supermarket. I think it was for grinding coffee, and it was written Kenya Coffee. So I really got interested to see where all this thing is. But when I went back to the hotel, and most of the hotels we went to, I was seeing black coffee from Colombia. So I'm not surprised with what Waziri Chelgoe said, that in their visit to Colombia, they have taken certain steps that have enabled them to be where they are. Other than the scientific issues of production, marketing, but one of the main issues that has been dealing with governance issues, to make sure there's proper regulations, those tasked to do the work are doing the work that they are supposed to do. Your Excellency, I want to end by saying there's also opportunity in this country. When Waziri Kuria said there's now a deliberate effort by national government working with county governments to come up with industrial parks to do value addition. I think that's one of the major clarion call of this government, to do value addition on our products and look at the aggregation system where we are working all the way from production to the market. And that is going to help put money in the pockets of the hustler nation that you have been talking about. So I want to support that, and governance issues is just about those institutions of government that are tasked with regulations to make sure that they are able to do that. And for us, if that happens, then the fear that we have been having to say, okay, you want us to start growing coffee. Haven't you seen the problems in the coffee sector? We will be able to open up more land and new frontiers for Kenyan farmers to be able to grow coffee in some areas that maybe were not traditionally coffee growing areas. And that is why Uganda, Ethiopia, you have said they have overtaken us. A lot of our farmers in Busia are taking their coffee into Uganda because of what they have seen in Uganda, a lot because they are their neighbors. And the economic benefits and transformation that has happened in the neighboring districts in Uganda compared to our sides has been very transformative. And this is what is encouraging our farmers on this side to also try and say, why can't you as county governments also support us with seedlings, with new technologies for us to be able to also grow coffee and reap the benefits that our Ugandan brothers are already reaping. Lastly, I want to say that we must make coffee farming sexy. By saying that, Your Excellency, I mean it must appeal to the young people. We must make it macho. It must be smart agriculture. So that these young people, when they are able to see that they can indulge in coffee, coffee growing with modern technologies, with modern ways of doing things. Maybe the word I used, some people may misconstrue it, but That is an English word that is properly in its context, and my sister here can put it. It is just something that is macho, it is modern, you know, it's appealing, it's attractive. That is what we are trying to say, that we should make our coffee farming to be. So that what we are talking about, a generation of people who may not be adoptive enough, still holding the sector at ransom, can be gradually be replaced. And it has happened in other places.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Na asante sana kwa kunialika kuja hapa.
Asante sana, Governor.
Kamili. Asante.
Asante sana, Governor wetu. Begin by changing the word agriculture. You don't use that, you use agribusiness. That way, now they will go. Just before I come to the conclusion, Your Excellency, I want to give Cicely to just say a word, and then I can conclude.
Mine will be very, very brief. Your Excellency, I thank the members of Parliament, both in the Senate and the National Assembly, for coming to this conference. Because the matter of legislation on coffee is squarely in your hands. Now, in the last Parliament, and I'm happy Dr. Chairman of Agriculture is here. He is the chairman now, and I'm also happy that Mel is here. We were with them in Committee of Agriculture. It took forever, Your Excellency, to get that law to pass. Parliament adjourned before we had passed that law. I want to request, and I'm happy the Majority Leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, is here, that kindly let us agree that between the Senate, where the bill is, and the National Assembly, in the same way we expedite important government business, that you are surely going to make this a priority going forward. So that in the next 2 months, we can have that law enacted, signed by the President, and we can start implementing the important things we are talking about right now. Please let not this session go on recess before you finish this important matter. And I would really like to hear the voice of Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah on this matter. I want to hear your commitment on behalf of the majority side, because that is where the matter is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. As you have heard the minds and the thoughts of the governors, we are focused. We want to work together. I would want to just mention that we want to be strong on research. We want to work together to increase extension farmers. Remember the extension services, the same way we are almost doing at UHC. If we are able to do that, that will really go a long way. Governance is key. But Your Excellency, we also have another challenge. Between the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Cooperatives, and ourselves, when we make a cooperative act that ignores everything that is being made in the Coffee Act and in a Tea Act, and they might end up being in the same under the same cooperatives, then we have a challenge. And therefore, we want to say this what we can now see between these ministries is going to do wonders for us. When Honorable Mithika Rinturi was appointed, I was courageous enough that I told him I come from a place where people speak the truth. And I told him, hardly before he was 1 month in office, the same people they had set a target of 30 million to collect and bring to him to change what you have already. And I remember telling him in a meeting, we are glad he has not taken it, because that is why we are where we are. But beyond everything else, Your Excellency, it was also important for you to bring this conference here, because the enemy, the man who totally destroyed the coffee and tea, came from this area. And now you have brought the man who will reverse all that from this area. We want to wish you well. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Emeritus, you can close.
Just one more. Your Excellency, we are struggling as a country with the dollar at the moment. And it is good to appreciate that when we leave our coffee in the hands of multinationals, Your Excellency, check where the bank. When we do that sale, most likely, and it has been proven, that money does not get back to Kenya. It is in German banks, it is in UK banks, but when we sell our coffee directly, that money we are paid in our accounts here, that is going to help our dollar go up. And it's not only in coffee. Even around here, I was telling Kawera Mwangaza the other day, Mheshimiwa, about these farms that are here around Mount Kenya that are taking all the water for the Meru people. Do they have a bank account in Meru County where they bank? They sell their flowers and the money is left out there. Here, it is only pocket change that is left here. And now we are struggling with dollars. So let's fix the coffee, and the dollar is going to be regulated because our farmers will be paid directly here with dollars. That's just my final thought.
Right, the whip, then we close down.
Just to wind up, Your Excellency, again, as we talk about end-to-end, now our coffee farmers, our cooperative societies, and county governments are starting to do value addition for our produce, and particularly for purposes of adding value, but also creating jobs for our young people. Unfortunately, the law right now in terms of taxation is that when most of these big boys were setting up these industries, the equipment on agro-processing was zero-rated. But during that time, the corona time, there was some change in law, and you introduced 16% tax on agro-processing equipment. So when the small farmers are starting to do value addition and set up industries, they are competing with the big boys who are the advantage of zero-rated regime. What we will be asking you is for you to consider, as we encourage our small farmers to do agro-processing on their own, let us consider a favorable tax regime so that this does not happen. I'm saying this because when we were doing a milk factory for ourselves, we started when it was zero-rated. Our budget was okay. Midway the process, the taxes, 16% was introduced, and it meant that we had to look for an extra 62 million into our budget. So what we are asking you is that you allowed the big boys to enjoy zero-rated tax regime. Now that farmers are coming up, can you allow them also to enjoy that? Even if it means, on a case-to-case basis, where you can provide tax waiver, especially for farmers and cooperative societies. It will go a long way in supporting our farmers to industrialize. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Now, my panel of governors, kindly give us a wonderful clap. Thank you for all of you and for your participation. And thank you. Sorry for harassing you.
Thank you, Excellency Governors, for the wonderful presentation on how devolution will positively impact the great changes that we seek and reforms in the coffee sector. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a successful first session around the coffee sector reforms. At this juncture, I wish to invite His Excellency, the Deputy President, to give us the way forward. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I think we are making good progress. I think we want to end this session so that we break for lunch for 45 minutes. We are here to work. If we wanted a holiday, we would have gone elsewhere. So I think since 45 minutes is good, then when we come back, we listen to the farmers. Then there is a presentation from the National Assembly, then the Senate, then we have other stakeholders, the cooperative movement, the unions. Then we'll have a panel now by the legislators where Kimani Ichung'wah will come so that we can ask him questions. We have the Senate and the National Assembly. Because after all this we are discussing, that's where it will end. So it's better they first listen to the issues, then we'll bring them here. But I think we are making good progress. Karinda, we want to salute you for being bold. Nothing will happen to you. Si mimi niko na rais. Sijali. Those people are our business. Wewe umeongea uzuri. And because it's good to hit the nail on the head. And to call a spade, not a what? A big spoon. I think we are making good progress. I want to thank the governors. They have made very good presentation, our CSs. And I think we are making good progress. So we want to, once we listen to the presentations, and the issues, thematic areas are defined, then there will be groupings now to come up with recommendations so that tomorrow we hammer everything, and by the end of the day, we come up with a blueprint that we'll discuss with the legislators, and then from there we can make progress. Who will come and pray for food so that we can break for lunch? Kairemia, wewe mama wetu. The women rep wa hapa Meru. Na ufupi sio kukatwa. So kuja uombe chakula, then we break for 45 minutes, and then we should be back here 2:45. Kaileme.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name is Elizabeth Karambu Kailemia, commonly known here as Mama Safi. I'm the woman rep for this area. And now, I don't want to say much, even though I've been born in the coffee area. Actually, my father started the societies here. So I'm very glad, and thank you very much, Your Excellency, and also our dear President. And now, I think we stand and pray. Our Father and our God, in Jesus' name we come before you, full of gratitude in our hearts. Father, we particularly want to thank you for gathering us here this morning for this noble event, oh Father. We know that you have only good plans for us here in Kenya. And I cannot deny that, Lord, this must have come from you. We are praying, Heavenly Father, that you may give us strength, give us wisdom, even to foster, to bring back the coffee industry the way it used to be. Father, we want to thank you most sincerely, even for the food that has been laid before us. We ask that you bless it, even as you bless our souls. For in Jesus' name we pray and believe.